This course video now looks into ethical issues and scientific integrity in the conduct of research. So let us first define research ethics. So when we speak of research ethics, it is concerned with the responsibility of the researchers to be honest and respectful to all individuals who are affected by the research studies or their reports to the study's results. So research ethics is commonly viewed as a set of ethical guidelines that assist researchers in making proper decisions and choosing proper actions. So bear in mind that ethical issues must be considered at each step of your research process. So what are some ethical issues and guidelines in research? One is, of course, do no harm. So researchers are obligated to protect participants from physical or psychological harm. Psychological harm includes, of course, increased anxiety, anger, perhaps depression. Any risk of harm must always be justified. There should be a justification or reason for any risk or harm. Also, remember that researchers are obligated to anticipate and remove any harm elements in the study that must monitor the well-being of the participants and stop the study at any sign of trouble. Okay. There you go. All right. Second is informed consent. So whenever you have participants in your study, as researchers, you must provide all available information about your study so that participants can make a rational, informed decision to participate in the study. They should understand information and then voluntarily decide whether or not to participate. You cannot force people to participate in your study. Okay, you cannot buy participation. There are three components of informed consent. Okay, so first is information. You provide participants with complete information about a research study prior to their participation. Second is understanding. Simply telling the participants about the research does not necessarily mean they are informed. Okay, researchers must express their explanation in terms that the participants can easily understand and should give the participants ample opportunity to ask questions. Okay, and then lastly, we have voluntary participation. So participants decide to participate in their participate of their own free will. It is important that researchers explain that the participant is completely free to decide or decline to participate or to leave the study at any time without negative consequences. Okay. Now let's take a look at fraud. So fraud is defined as an explicit effort to deceive and misrepresent data. So this is different from an error. An error is an honest mistake, okay, that occurs in research process, like for example, in data collection or maybe scoring of measures or entering data into computer or in publication typesetting. So that is an error. Okay, so it's different from fraud. So if a researcher makes up or changes data, it make it support the hypothesis. So this constitutes fraud. All right. Next is we have plagiarism. Okay, so this is to present someone's ideas or words as your own without giving due acknowledgement. So that is plagiarism. And this is a serious breach of ethics. So you have to be careful. You have to avoid plagiarism. So be careful about paraphrasing or restating someone else's words. Use your own words or use quotations. Do not cut and paste without enclosing quotation marks and indicating sources or your source. Include a complete list of references at the end of the paper. If in doubt whether a citation is necessary, okay, you have to cite the source anyway. Okay, deception occurs when a researcher purposely withholds information or misleads participants with regard to information about a study. So there are two forms of deception. We have passive and active deception. So passive is when the researcher intentionally withholds some information about the study, while active is when the researcher mislead participants about a specific purpose of the study. Okay, and lastly, we have here inducement. So inducement is offering of excessive and inappropriate financial or other inducement to obtain participants, okay, which should not be done. So we shouldn't pay our participants to participate in our study. We go back to informed consent, and which we discussed, of course, earlier. All right. Okay.